do you think of this? You like it? Sure, I can help.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we're going to be looking at my top 10 Halloween games for the Nintendo Switch. Now this list won't only be new games from the last year, it'll rather be a mix, I would say about half and half, between some new games that just came out lately, and also the other half being those classic games that I just find really represent that Halloween spirit. And on that point, I will tell you right away, you could probably name a ton of other games that would fit on this list. And I won't only be focusing on horror games or any particular genre, rather trying to find a smorgasbord with a bunch of games that has a little bit of something for everyone. So if you have kids and you want a great game to play on Halloween, there's going to be something on this list. If you're an adult, you're looking for a retro classic, once again, you're going to have something on this list. I'm also not going to be ordering the list in any particular order, rather just focusing on the fact that these are 10 great games to be played around Halloween. And by the way, if your favorite game isn't on the list and you want to comment it down below, it is always welcome. And remember, if you are liking the content, one of the best ways to help support the channel, hit that like button. So my first game for today, and probably the weirdest one for this list, is actually going to be the Capcom Fighting Collection. And if you're wondering, the Capcom Fighting Collection, a Halloween game? Well, that's because it's featuring most of the mainline entries of the Darkstalkers series, which is the most Halloween fighting game you can get. I mean, what is more Halloween than throwing a beatdown as pretty much characters based on all of the Universal monsters? So if you ever wondered who would win a fight between the Wolfman, Dr. Frankenstein's monster, or even Dracula, well, you know what? This is the game for you. It's also a great game to pop out if you have people coming over and you need a multiplayer Halloween experience. Not only that, but these games actually have online multiplayer available for these games. So even if you're on your own and you want to throw down against other people, it is once again available right here. So although I don't think a lot of other people were thinking of this game, to me, it is definitely a game worthy of being on my list of top Halloween games for this year. Now the next game on our list is going to be one that for me has now become a Halloween classic, and that is Pumpkin Jack. Now this game is a 3D action platformer where, contrary to usual, you are trying to make sure that the forces of evil will beat out the forces of good. And to do so, you'll be controlling Jack, a character who can't be more Halloween flavored with a jack-o'-lantern for a head. I mean, everything in this game just screams Halloween, whether it's the environment, whether it's the music, or all the characters. I mean, there's even parts of the game where your head will detach from your body and you'll have to solve puzzles as a walking jack-o'-lantern. Also, this is one of those games that I think can be experienced by people of all ages. Although there is a slight level of difficulty, they definitely take a more humoristic approach than a scary one. Now the next game on our top 10 for today is going to be actually a couple of games, which are the two Castlevania collections. So whether it's the Castlevania Anniversary Collection or the Castlevania Advanced Collection, these are games that I'm going to be including as one pick on our list for today. And I mean, for fans of classic retro gameplay, there are no more games that scream Halloween than these two collections. If you're a fan more of the straightforward action platformers, go for the Castlevania Anniversary Collection with most of the original entries from the NES and SNES eras. And on the other hand, if you're more a fan of those Metroidvania adventures, well, you've got the Castlevania Advanced Collections. However, one thing that is guaranteed in both these collections is that they are definite games that I feel represent that Halloween spirit. I mean, your main objective is always the same. You have to kill Dracula. And for most of these games, you're going to be doing so by making your way through a haunted castle. I mean, for the retro gaming sense, it's really hard to get more Halloween than these games. Now, just as an honorable mention, because I didn't want to occupy this list by this other series, you also have the Bloodstained series that could easily fill the role of the Castlevania games if you want a more modern retro experience. So although they're not going to be occupying an official space on today's list, this is definitely an honorable mention for that group of games. Now, while we're on the subject of classic series, there's another one I want to talk about, and that is the Resident Evil series, which will be the next entry on my list for today. Now, there's so many Resident Evil games that I can't pick just one for this list, so we're going to be talking about them in general as a series. Obviously, the gameplay experience here is not going to be as retro as the previous entry on the list. However, if we're looking for another series that just screams Halloween spirit, it's hard to find a better one than Resident Evil. Now, although almost all of these games can be great pickups, I'm definitely going to be picking out my favorite ones that represent, in my opinion, the Halloween feeling. Now, I have to definitely point to the first entry for me as being my most Halloween Resident Evil game. I mean, you're making your way through what seems like a haunted mansion, killing zombies left and right. And if you go back when I actually played this game for the first time on the PS1 when it just released, we did not know it was just a biovirus, so we really thought we were going through a haunted experience. But after that original entry, I've definitely got to point out as a overall great Halloween feeling, the fourth entry in the series. I mean, this game really brought back that feeling of not knowing at the beginning what the heck was going on, with these crazy villagers just trying to kill you. Also, there was a sort of spookiness to each and every one of the different environments, with cultists and all this kind of crazy Halloween feeling experiences. Now, as I said earlier, pretty much all the entries here have a lot to offer in the horror Halloween vibe. However, those two entries to me really are the best specimens. Now, our next game for today, in my opinion, is an often overlooked port to the Switch, and that is Alien Isolation, which after the Resident Evil series is one of the best horror experiences I've had on my Nintendo Switch. Now, if you're a fan of the Alien series, I often think that first movie holds a special place in your heart, because to me, it was the movie that best represented that overall horror feeling. And that's actually one of the reasons that I like this game so much. I really do find that it ported that feeling from that first movie into a gaming format. And to be totally honest, the Alien series hasn't had the best representation of its IPs, and in my opinion, this is pretty much the best one out there. Also, it's pretty rare that we can say that the Switch version of a game is actually the best version out there. In this case, however, I really do believe that, because when this game was ported over to the Switch, it actually, in my opinion, looks better here than it did on the original console. And I've got to tell you that sitting alone in the dark with your Switch in handheld mode playing this game is quite an experience. And definitely one that if you do so on Halloween will bring it up to another level. Now for our next game, we're going to actually be looking at a game that just came out this year and has a quite unique experience, and that is House of the Dead Remake. Now this game is the remake of an awesome arcade-style on-the-rails shooter. Now I'm going to start by addressing one issue. Yes, it does use motion controls, and yes, there are some issues with that. However, it's also a game that I fully played on stream, doing actually 2 complete playthroughs, and I've got to say that once you tweak the controls and you get used to it, it is a perfectly playable game in my experience. However, if we're talking about original Halloween feeling experiences on your Switch, I've definitely got to put this game right at the top. Because throughout the whole game, you're fighting your way through hordes of zombies, monsters, and bat-like creatures. And I've also got to say that this is definitely one of the best games to be playing in co-op. Because although the single player experience is really fun, nothing beats smashing through these hordes with a friend. It's also one of those great party experiences. If you have a few people over for Halloween and you don't mind passing your controllers around, you know what? This game can be tons of fun. So for the moment, this game has definitely earned a spot in my top Halloween games. Now for our next game, we're going with an undeniably great game to play on Halloween for people of all ages, and that is going to be Luigi's Mansion 3. Now first of all, still today, I find that Luigi's Mansion 3 is one of the best looking games on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, the animations here are just incredibly smooth, and the visuals themselves are just popping. Now if we get back to why this is the perfect Halloween game, I mean, what is more Halloween than playing as Luigi, making his way through a haunted hotel, pretty much catching ghosts? And I've got to say, I love the first 2 Luigi's Mansions, but this one has definitely brought the series up to another level once again. Because as you make your way through the different floors here, each and every floor you get to is like a totally new environment. I mean, in one, you'll be fighting your way through a Godzilla-style movie set. In another one, you'll find yourself in the pyramids of ancient Egypt. And in another, you'll find yourself fighting the animated bones of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And once again, although this game has an incredibly Halloween feeling theme to it, it never gets to that scary point where younger kids can't enjoy it. Because Luigi, the cartoon graphics, and Polterpup always do what's needed to inject that level of humor and bring down the scariness. But still, in my opinion, one of the best Halloween games out there. So now while we're on the subject of ghost busting, there's another game on the Nintendo Switch that often doesn't get enough props and is an amazing Halloween game, and that is Ghostbusters, the video game remastered. I mean, for me, Ghostbusters isn't only one of the best Halloween-style movies out there, it's one of the all-around best movies of all time. And once again, this series hasn't always had the best uses of its IP in the video game format. However, Ghostbusters, the video game, is a definite exception and in my opinion is the best Ghostbuster experience you can get on your video game consoles. I mean, the Ghostbuster experience here is so good it could actually fill the role of a third movie from the original cast. Because the events in this game pretty much directly follow up what happened in those first two movies. Not only that, but all the characters here are voiced by their original actors. And if we move beyond just the storyline, the gameplay experience after that is also incredibly appealing. So definitely, if you're a fan of the Ghostbusters movie series and you're looking for a great game to be playing on this upcoming Halloween season, well, Ghostbusters the video game remastered is an amazing pickup. Now, our next game for today is another one of those really original experiences in the Halloween flavor, and that is going to be Carry On. That is, in my opinion, a great Metroidvania that it really evokes the Halloween feeling. Now, number one, as I say every time I talk about this game flips the genre on its head. Because rather than playing a human hero or a hero character itself, you are actually playing the scary monster trying to break its way out of the lab. And to me, there's something really visceral about this game, having to play the monster and actually eat humans to grow and acquire new abilities. I mean, we've all watched those TV and movie series where you almost end up rooting for the bad guy. Well, if you like that kind of experience, then Carry On is a definite game for you. And once again, this game isn't only about having an awesome premise, it really backs it up with awesome gameplay and some really great use of in-game physics. So definitely, if you're into the Metroidvania genre, you have not experienced this game yet, and you want one that really has a great feeling for Halloween, Carry On is going to be a great choice. Now, our last game on the list for today is one that I'm really happy got ported over to the Switch, and that is Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water. I mean, for those who know the Fatal Frame series, I really don't think I need to explain why this game is a perfect game to be playing on Halloween. For those of you who have no knowledge of it, the basic premise here is that you have to be taking pictures of ghosts because your camera has the special ability of being able to banish those spirits. Now, this game was originally released on the Wii U, which is why not many people have unfortunately played it, but it was a great game released on that console. And it really does a good job of recreating that horror type experience, but with a different overall approach. There's also a really good storyline behind the game here with a mystery to solve. So once again, if you're looking for a really great spooky game for this Halloween season, well, Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water is going to be a great game for you. So there we have my list of top 10 Halloween games for this year. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, I do know that there are a ton of other great games on the Nintendo Switch that could easily fit into this category. So why don't you share your favorites in the comments down below and we can get a great community list going. And on the way out, don't forget that if you did like the video and you want to see more, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and click on the notification bell so you know when all my future videos come out. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video.